Okay, I'm going to warn you here. We are about to get very, very nerdy just for a little bit. Okay, you just bear with me because every now and then there is an infographic that is released and it's based on some research and it just catches a lot of traction on social media. Well, recently there was an infographic that was released that provided the income a family needs to live comfortably in the United States. Have you seen that infographic? So on the infographic, they have the visual of the United States, and for every state, they provide the annual income that a family needs to live comfortably. And the reason why it caught a lot of traction was because, well, the numbers were somewhat surprising. There are some people that were saying, just at a gut level, it seems a little high. There's others that were saying, you know what, based on my own life, I now understand why everything seems so tight because I'm nowhere near that income level. So I completely understand now why I am not feeling comfortable. But because it's caught so much traction, and somebody tagged me on X asking what I thought about it, and then Taylor Standridge, our producer, put it in the More Than Money Facebook group feed and asked the same question. What do you all think about it? I decided to kind of go down the rabbit hole, if you will, and try to understand where they got these numbers. And so if you've seen this infographic, once again, it says the income a family needs. We're going to dive into the data a little bit. I know we're nerding out, but I think it's important for you to understand where these things come from. So when you see an infographic, you can kind of question it and start picking it apart. I think it can be helpful as it relates to maybe your financial literacy. So let's dive into this infographic. So by the way, in the state of North Carolina, it says that, which is where I'm located, it says that we need an annual income of $209,000 to live comfortably. State of Texas, which is where our producer Taylor Standridge lives, it's 201. So let's dive into this. Now, as we dive into it, one of the most important parts to understand is really how they define comfortably, right? And they're assuming a 50-30-20 budgetary split. Okay, that means 50% is going here, 30% of your money is going here, and 20% of your money is going there. That's really, really important to understand. According to this study, 50% will go toward necessities, 30% toward discretionary income, and then 20% toward savings. That piece, once again, is really important to understand. Another important piece to understand is that they're assuming that this is a family of four with two working parents and then two kids. So once again, that's very important to understand so that you know how they arrived where they did with their numbers. Now, let's start working through that split. 50% is going toward necessities. Okay, where did they figure out how much necessities cost? Well, they use the MIT Living Wage calculator. Now, this calculator assumes these basic necessities: childcare, healthcare, housing, internet, transportation, civic engagement, income, payroll taxes, and then quote unquote other necessities. Now, this living wage calculator pulls its data from a bunch of government documents, and I'm going to nerd out with this right here, like the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Expenditure Survey, Table 14. Yeah, I know you read that thing all the time. You know exactly what we're talking about here. Now, here's what I did. I actually went to those government documents and glanced through them. I can't say that I spent a ton of time on them, but what I can say is that there are a few items that I would say probably not necessities. Most of them I would probably say, yeah, do fit into that particular category. Now, once again, it's important to understand the family that they chose. Okay, so they chose a family with two working adults and two kids. Because it's two working adults, according to the MIT calculator, that means that childcare for both of those children will be included into the number. Now, for the state of North Carolina, once again, they said $209,000. That means 50% of that, or $104,500, should cover your necessities. That's what's needed to cover necessities. Now, we're going to assume childcare for both of those kids. If you go to, once again, going down the rabbit hole here and using their data, you can actually see that you can go even to Wake County, which is the county that I'm in, and see that they assume $8,000 per child in the county in Wake County, North Carolina. Okay, so that means that of those necessities, that $16,000 of it will go toward childcare. They're assuming, regardless of age, they're not assuming age. They're just assuming childcare because both parents are working there. And then, so that leaves, if you take the $16,000 from the $104,500, that leaves $88,500 for housing, transportation, food, and other items mentioned above for all four. Now, at this point, I would say the number seems reasonable. Like, it doesn't seem that out there. Maybe a little bit high. I think some would argue that, but it doesn't seem strange. Okay, so that's necessities. Now let's look at savings. So they're assuming that a person is going to take, or a family will take 20% of their annual income and put it towards savings. Now, savings, according to them, includes paying off debt, it includes retirement savings, it includes all types of savings. Now, the median amount saved in the United States is $250 per person. Or, I'm sorry, per month. Okay, that's the median amount. Assuming that there's an annual income of $209,000 in the state of North Carolina, that means that 20% of that will be $41,800 per year that will be set aside for savings. Which, if you do the math on the $250 per month, the median savings in the United States, that is $38,800 above the median. Okay, so now we're starting to see why there's a lot of questioning about it, right? Why it seems to be a little inflated, because the amount people actually save compared to what they're saying you should save just to live comfortably is significantly higher. Now, I'm all for saving more. I would love to see the 20% number for you. But once again, this is what they're saying is necessary for living comfortably. So we have the savings covered. All right, now to the discretionary spending, because that's where things get a little bit crazy. Because once again, they're assuming that 30% of your income will go toward discretionary spending. Now, remember, all the necessities have been covered: housing, transportation, internet, all the childcare, all of that has been covered. So now we're talking about discretionary spending. They're saying, hey, 30% should be discretionary spending, which means if you're in the state of North Carolina, $63,000 per year goes toward discretionary spending. That's crazy. Okay. That right there is, once again, why you're starting to see such an inflated number, why people are looking at this saying, where is this coming from? 30% discretionary spending is really, really high for most people. $63,000 per year for discretionary spending to live comfortably just seems really, really high. So as you're looking at that infographic, once again, it's the income a family needs to live comfortably in the United States. I'm going to include the link in the show notes so that you can go to the report to see it. Just know that, yes, I do think that the number is inflated because of the savings component, which, once again, I'm a fan of that. I would love to see it, but it's not the reality for most Americans. And then the discretionary spending, which is really, really high for most Americans. And I think most Americans would say, I don't necessarily need that much discretionary spending or even that much savings to feel like I'm living comfortably. So yes, it's a little bit high, but there you go. So thank you so much for nerding out with me a little bit. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to answer some of your money questions.